I'm very excited. Our next guest, Wei, is coming from the Hong Collective in Vancouver. And Wei she's a graduate from Emily Carr. And what I find really fascinating is that she's also been to Jingdezhen in China, which is the capital for porcelain. And I'll let Wei talk to you about that more. Yeah. But also to Yixing, where all the Yixing teapots are made. So we're in for a really wonderful conversation about tea ceramics and her journey through that. So if we could all give a round of applause, and thanks, Wei, for coming.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for that. And first of all, I would like to thank you for the association to have me here. I feel so honored to share my passion with ceramic and also with tea and share my journey with the tea lovers and the fellow artists here. As Jen mentioned, I graduated from Emily Carr with ceramic background. After that, I decided to go back to China because actually before Canada, I have nothing about ceramic. And then I heard Jingdezhen is like you said, it's the capital of the porcelain. I said, okay, I need to go back to further my practice. Can we have the next slide? At that time, I did a couple months residency there. I have one friend visiting. He's a tea master. He said, okay, let's go to the market. And they have a kind of craft market you can see on the screen almost every week and everywhere in that town. So he said, okay, let's go to market together, asked me to help him find a perfect tea wares. So at that time, we were looking at a teapot. I can still have that kind of teapot in my mind with beautiful glaze, really nice, crafted. But he said one sentence kind of influenced my whole journey. He said, the person who made that teapot probably don't drink tea. I'm like, what are you talking about? Mm. I don't understand what you're talking about. But he didn't explain much. He just said, okay, start drink tea with me. So that's how I start with my tea journey without knowing it's totally a bunny hole. And actually after that, can we have next slide? After that, I did another residency in Yunnan. And you can see also had my very first wood firing there. Oh, cool. And on the right side corner, you can see a kiln. It's kind of like actually my first wood firing process. It's a really experience because the kiln totally exploded. Oh, no. So that's why on the top you can see all the kind of the work and the shelf, everything come buried together. And because the kiln got exploded, we have to wait. The temperature is already about 1,000 degrees, so we have to wait a couple of days to let it cool and try to figure out what happened. So during that time, I already booked my time off, so got nothing to do. So I just wandering around in the village, and then it's in Yunnan, so it's drink more tea. Just I don't know. Later on, you will find all those things. It's kind of like the destiny in the life. It's bring them all together. Okay, so after that, because when you start drinking tea, then you're using tea wares, and also it takes me to the next place. It's the Yixing, where famous for its teapot. I said, okay, I'm gonna start to learn how to make teapots, different tea wares. At that time, my master said almost similar thing. He says, if you want to make a good tea wares, good teapots, you need to drink tea. Mm-hmm. So actually in our studio, right next to the your working station, it will be a tea station. So while you're waiting for the clay to dry properly, you will drink the tea. Or when you take a break, or you have a studio visitors, we just drink tea. At that time, it just become really part of the life. So when I'm back to Vancouver, I said, okay, I want that in my studio as well. In my very first studio, all my friends, when they visit, they were kind of complain. They say, oh, we love your studio and we like the tea, but the thing is it's all shared with the same table. So when they back home, they will have those little bit of clay dust at the souvenir for the visit. Then later on, when I moved to a slightly bigger space, I finally have a tea station with my kind of next to my working station. And I find it's really beneficial. Not only it's kind of can have a really your own time. Maybe sometimes I just drink tea for 15, 20 minutes, but really calms you down and get recharged back to work again. So, yeah. After that, I start to do some workshops and bring my master from Yixing to Vancouver, and also bring the artists locally here to both Yixing and China to have a kind of cultural exchange. And can we have
So what can we?
Yeah,
what,
sure.
I've been wanting to cut in and ask questions. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. So what's happening in that picture there? Is this the exchange? Are you making clay pots all together, or is it an example?
It's a kind of workshop. So I
Okay.
invite those like tea master to be here in Chabot, like in Burnaby.
Okay.
It's an art center, and to show a demo how they do the Yixing pottery like in the traditional process.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, long time ago, now those days you can find those videos they're using wooden hammer
Totally, I love them, yeah.
a lot. But actually, I think almost 10 years ago, you need to be a Yixing residency to learn that. Yeah,
so it's giving provenance to it. So it's a technique specific to that zone for
yeah. And also, I would say it's really the localized material determine what kind of pottery they do.
Okay.
It's and also through that kind of like I went to school here and I went back to Asia to learn all those things. I find not only the making process is different, but actually behind that, it's the culture difference.
Okay.
Like here, all the clay we got, it's all from like a company, like there's a recipe for it. But like in Asia, doesn't matter if it's in China or Japan, in Vietnam, they will use very local material. Like for example, we were talking about Jingdezhen, because they have the calling clay.
Yes.
It's the material itself allow you to do. It's perfect material for wheel throwing technique.
Okay.
And also it's allow you can trim it very thin. That's why you will look at the porcelain is kind of semi-translucent. And back to Yixing, it's their local, the Yixing, and they call it a purple sand clay, allow you to do the patting technique. It's the grog, it's the sand there, allow you to do that. So it's very specific to that kind of region by itself.
Can you share with our audience a little bit more about the Yixing clay? Because Yixing teapots are very famous.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that clay specifically to Yixing? Is it so important for making teapots out of?
The clay itself, actually, when you look at the raw material, it doesn't look like a clay, more like a rock. So you need to really grind it, sieve it, actually age it for like at least like I think more than 3 to 5 years, and then you can use it. And the thing is, actually, this one is made out of the Yixing clay.
So beautiful.
Lots of like the pottery you see is with the shiny part. It's we call it glaze. The chemistry part is very similar to the glass, so it will have the glossy finishing. But for the Yixing clay, there's no glaze, just the clay body itself. So kind of the clay body can kind of breathe. So that's why sometimes you will heard, oh, you can only use one type of tea for one type of teapot. Well, I tried,
Okay, yeah.
but it's like I have so many teapot and tea want to try. So it can kind of absorb the flavor, and also there's another thing you can do. You will find lots of tea jars used to storage tea. You will use the Yixing clay as well,
Okay.
because it's also balance the moisture level in the air. You don't want
interesting.
to, you don't want to
Yes.
actually. Sometimes we have those like tea packaging. It's perfectly sealed, but that way no air can get in, which means actually the tea inside is not really aging. But also sometimes you want to avoid like too much moisture there. You just wanna, but like I think in Vancouver here we're pretty lucky. It's really good like moisture level and climate for the tea. So yeah,
It's beautiful, this piece. I heard once that and please correct me because I don't know for sure. With the Yixing clay, it's very porous, sort of like rough or like holy, you know.
Yeah.
So the tea oils absorb into the clay. And then there's this legend that I heard once that if you use the same teapot for 50 years, with the same tea that in 50 years you can pour water and tea will come out.
Yeah, it will taste like tea because
Yep.
those like tea oil and the particles there kind of kept in the clay body. Another thing is when you next time we look at those videos, you will see they hammering only one side of the slab, and the side they hammering they use it for the outside of the teapot. So the inside of the teapot or the teaware will be slightly porous compared with the outside. So we'll still kind of breathe at the same time. It try to, because the outside first it will be more smooth.
Yes.
And also at the same time it will capture the aroma inside the teapot.
Thank you. I didn't
So
know
that's
that.
why lots of time you will see the outside it will be shinier, smoother compared with the inside. Another thing is towards the end of the making, they will use actually it's a buffalo horn.
Oh.
Then you use that to polish the surface. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. I know we call this as a like presentation, also, but feel free to stop me to ask questions.
Yeah, please. If anyone
Yeah.
has questions, just raise your hand and we can
Yeah.
work like
And-
that.
Okay, yeah, we were talking about like my very first interesting and exciting wood firing process. So after that, I tried to figure out what exactly happened because it's my first wood firing. I don't understand why it's exploded or why people are so fascinated about wood firing. So when I'm back to Vancouver, I'm kind of lucky to meet some people also interested in the wood firing. We built a kiln together in Mission, and there's several firings at different locations. Shabo is the place I do a lot of firing. The technician there, they're really very supportive and knowledgeable about it. And can we move to next slide? Yeah, there's more fire. And also I built a small wood kiln so I like to make my own clay body or collect raw clay. So it's nice to have a smaller wood kiln. I can do a lots of like a test. Also have 2 teapots here. They are from the same firing.
Oh, okay.
But you can see the result, it's different. Also, it's because the clay body is different. Maybe we can pass it around. So-
Sure.
Yeah.
Should we take the lids
Okay,
off maybe?
yeah. Yeah, actually interesting thing is, can we have the next slide?
Beautiful pots.
Okay, sorry, maybe one more. Okay. The wood firing, all the texture and the color you see on the teapot, it's all from the firing process itself. If you're doing pottery or like heard about it, lots of time we will refer to gas firing, electronic firing. So this is where the energy, the heat is from. For the wood firing, it's very like, I say, old-fashioned, traditional way. You're just using the wood. So sometimes really depends on the size of the kiln and what kind of firing style you want. Sometimes you have to be there more than like 50, 60 hours nonstop, just keep stoking the kiln.
That's what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
imagine there would be quite a bit of fluctuation in temperature with
Yeah.
the wood firing instead of with an electric firing. I imagine it's like an oven. It can maintain a constant temperature.
Yeah, that's why I like about it. It's always a teamwork. So you will have people doing different shifts, and also you can really depends on what kind of wood you use,
Okay.
and then it will leave different temperature. Oh, sorry, different color and the texture.
Oh, wow.
And also the really bring up the difference between the like different clay body. I think one of them is it's a porcelain. So the one more smooth, it's the porcelain, and the one you're holding there, it's a stoneware. So we will see. I always like to flip over. I don't know, like when you go to a restaurant or something, I like to flip over.
Me too.
Let me see what happened to you. So another thing is for the wood firing, interesting thing is it really capture the moment where the flame kiss on the pot, where the ash have been deposited there. So you can see, for example, this one, I can tell like flame goes this way. So here has more ash. And probably there's some oak, so we have those kind of yellowish
Okay.
colors. And then from here, there's not much ash, but the flame got a kiss here, so it's a bit toasted. At the end here, it's like goes this way. So in here, not much things happening, so you can see more of the original color of the clay. Yeah.
Shishini, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's why you can make same shape in the same kiln, but you will never get the same result because there are so many variables. You cannot control how the flame goes, or even sometimes it's rain or shine, it will change the result as well. And also, as I mentioned, because the firing process is such a long process, it takes shifts. So it really depends who they are. And they will have a variety. We always call it a kind of Christmas time when you're unloading the kiln.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I imagine that there's some fire keepers that there must be technique that is learned in how to maintain the fire over time.
Lots of times just by experience.
Okay.
Yeah, like for me, first I just participate like 1 or 2 shifts. But at that time, you don't have a idea about the whole thing. You just do, just keep stoking the wood. But sometimes, like I said, maybe it's raining or maybe the wood is a little bit damp. You won't just get the temperature up. Sometimes it can be frustrating. And also sometimes even how you arrange, we call it loaded kiln, how you arrange a piece next to each other, you will affect the result as well. For example, if I have the cup in front of the lid and the flame comes this way, so there will be no ash on that one. Or for example, if I have something loaded like this, so we will have that kind of curve reflect on the pot.
I love the thoughtfulness throughout the whole process.
Yeah, and also actually making pottery, later on I'll talk about, I start to bring my tea wares, kind of travel around using the local water and sharing tea with people. And can we have the next one? Thanks. Oh, yes, that's on the right corner, you can see a photo with a variety of the wood. That's the thing I was talking about. But lots of time, because the wood we use is such a big amount, we cannot control what kind of wood we use. But for that, it's a kind of small test. You can see each wood had their own kind of colors. Each of them have their own character. That's what I'm about to say. It's like when I'm traveling, and then I just noticed, to us, the water, the clay, and the tree, the woods, I always call them like the quiet elements. Before the wood firing, all the trees to me, they probably the same. It's like when you're kids and you draw the tree, they all look the same. And now then you can see they really have their own character. And for the water, it's the same, especially I think for tea lovers, when I travel to the east side. I feel so lucky to be here in BC. We have really good water source. Water. It's really like changing the taste of the tea. And all those quiet elements, I find it's unconsciously affect us. Totally. It's also like sometimes I use the tea wares or like the wood firing as a metaphor. We have doing, you get up, take a shower, brush your teeth, everything looks like the same, but every day actually it's different. And also we affect by people around us. Those things, it's like the flame kind of quietly, not really quiet, but kind of travels through. It's like time travels through us, have an effect on us, and also like how we kind of, I should say, connect with other people next to each other. Yes. It's kind of we share the energy, share with the time. And also that moment, the thing I like about the wood firing is that moment, very sentimental moment, just captured there forever. Yes. For the ceramic, the material itself, unlike other material, it won't dissolve. It might break, but it's kind of here on this planet forever. It's like we creating, it's a human-made fossil to capture the moment. It's like, it's hard to describe, something very short just about that present, that moment, but also it's kind of like lasts forever.
The longevity of it. Thank you. I really love how you express that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's how I travel around, use different water source. And also in the next slides, you will see
wait, let's pause on this slide. I like this slide. Okay. I like this slide. So this is you traveling around different places in BC, this mostly looks like. And you sit and have tea in nature and you try different waters and appreciate the moment.
Yeah, and also can share tea with strangers.
Oh, wonderful. I love doing that too.
Yeah. And also you can see I have that what you call the water filtering systems. You just
Okay.
use the whatever water is there.
Oh,
Sometimes
no way.
I just drink the water by itself. You can really taste the difference as well. And I like to, sometimes you can see, that's the tea where I always travel with. Even like on my way here this morning, I was having tea with my tea camp friends.
Yeah.
Also highly recommend their tea, my favorite. Then I try to stay with the same tea where same tea I always drink, then use them as try to minimize the variables and then using just the local water to test out. And actually, you will be so surprised.
Where's your most favorite recent place? I'm sure there's many favorites, but what is one place where you were out in nature that you noticed was the tea became very bright because of the beautiful water?
The recent one, I would say Joffrey.
Oh, where's
Yeah.
Joffrey?
Joffrey, the glacier, they have a glacier at the very top.
Okay.
Yeah, the water. I was surprising because we always think it's a kind of tourist place.
Okay.
Yeah, but the glacier water is really good.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Other than that, I would say my second favorite actually is my home. I always feel so lucky that just the tap water we have here is just really good.
It is really
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that will be that. You can see me, it's like collecting different clay, the wild clay. Sometimes I will do some tests on them. It's but lots of them it's a lower temperature clay, but the thing is I just still doing them. Because as an immigrant, now I really feel Vancouver as a second hometown. I think by just get to more familiar with those kind of quiet elements,
Yes.
really make me get connected and grounded with this land. I really feel it's a hometown for me now.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Happy you're
Okay.
here.
And then some of my work there
Oh
for
my
this.
gosh, it's gorgeous.
Thank you. And for this project, I call it a beloved one, because all the lead you found there, it's all found objects. Once you have a jar without lead, you can still use it. But the lead by itself is kind of a little bit useless.
Totally.
So, but they are really nicely crafted. So I just collect them to make a jar for that lead. And some of them, it's got a rustic on them. I just make some make my own clay body or some glaze just to emphasize and to have some echo on the clay, not the clay body, the jar itself to reflect, to echoing the character on the lid. Yeah, those ones as well. And also on the left side, you can see a tiny bit of white parts. I was mentioned every time when I unload the kiln, it's like a Christmas time. But sometimes it can be good surprise or unexpected surprise.
Okay.
For that one, in particular, actually it's a broken piece from, I don't know, it's from someone else or it's from the shelving. So you can see there's actually drip. So with that kind of a broken piece, kind of stuck on my pot. But I think just that thing make it more unique and lovely. I kept that one for myself for a long time. And also the one on the right side, you can really see the influence when I'm talking about if you have piece next to each other, really creates that kind of curve on the pot.
Thank you. I didn't realize that that's where it came from. I just always assumed that was just how the glaze was put on.
Oh, because for those ones, there are no glaze at all. It's we call it landed ash becomes glaze.
No.
So there, for these two, there's no glaze at all. It's the ash. It's the wood first. It burned to charcoal, and the charcoal then burned to the ash. And the ash is so so light.
Yes.
So it will travel with the flame, and then it becomes very sticky when it's kissing the pot.
Yes.
Well, stuck there. And when the temperature usually it's over 1200 degrees,
yes.
it start melting. So that's why on those ones you can see those kind of melting movement.
Totally. I just assumed it was glaze, so there's no glaze.
No glaze at all.
Spectacular.
That's why it's also emphasized the uniqueness or the character of the clay body itself. For example, like so this one, it feels very little bit rough.
Yes.
Because the mineral or the mineral there, here when they really get busted, they have a bigger spot, and here they there will be more quiet one. And same, I can, if I look at this one, I can imagine the flame goes this way. Here you got more ash, a little bit more, and got the drip here. And on the side, there's more flame, not much ash, so it's more red. At the very back, here it's the original color of the clay body.
Wait, that's spectacular.
And another thing is, like in the previous slides, there's making like tea wares. Sometimes I give it to my friend as a gift. They say, "Oh, we really kind of cherish it. We put it there, worship it." I said, like, no, just using it. I'll use this one as a sample. I have this one from my matcha sensei, and I just really like this one. You can see the spot there. Actually, this one has a glaze on it.
Okay, I was going to
but
say.
But this one, those spots indicate how the person who made it, how they hold the pot to do the glaze. So I like always tend to do this. But since I really like this one, I actually never use it. And that the time I using it, I realized there's another kind of design behind it. For the traditional like Japanese tea, for the tea bowl, there's a front, and then when you hold the tea, you will turn in an angle, so you will drink from a kind of 45-degree angle. And here you can see all the rim is kind of thick all the way around, but here where you're supposed to drink it, they did a cut.
Thoughtful.
Yeah, but like if you don't use it, I have it for years now using it. I didn't realize that at all. I just keep touching it, like
Then.
So there's another thing I kind of enjoying as a maker. Well, first, then now those days when I look back, my friends was talking about the person making the tea wares, probably not drinking the tea. It's like you have to be a user in their step first to start think about how they gonna use it and what kind of tea they're gonna use it. For example, these two matcha bowl, one is more for summertime and more for the like thinker matcha.
Okay.
And this one will be the thick for the thick matcha. So the tea bowl will be thicker. And then you back to your own role as a maker to think about what kind of like decision you want to make to emphasize, like for this one, to emphasize how they gonna use it. And also you can do, I would say, little bit manipulation on it.
Okay.
Those days when we use a mug a lot, right? But sometimes you will find when there's a mug, you sometimes still grab it like this instead of holding the handles. Actually, I find that it's because those days we use paper cup so much. There's no handle on it. Totally. But just like gradually we develop those habits, just grab a thing like this. That's kind of like the subtle manipulation on that. But also you can kind of like, as a maker, you can kind of play with that. For example, if there are dent or something there, you will naturally put your finger there. It's kind of you guide how the user will use it or interact with the tea wares making. Yeah.
And can I?
Sure,
I just have so many questions. I'm so fascinated by what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When you're let's use this pot for example. Were you drinking a certain tea? I love how your tea master was really wanting you to integrate tea into your process. And do you find that when you make a pot, you'll be drinking a certain tea and that influences the pot you're making? Or
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, like the oolong tea, most common oolong tea, it's always rolled into a kind of small balls, and later on they will expand really big.
Yes.
And then those one will be pretty good for that. Another thing is like the opening of the rim.
Yes.
Those days I like to use even like bigger rim, or I'll make a bigger rim. It's easy to clean.
To clean it out. Totally.
Yeah. Another thing, I don't have it today, but it's like when you look at the inside, there's a filter.
Yes.
But if you get a chance to see the Japanese teapot, the outside looking might be similar, but when you look at the inside of the filter, it will be more or finer holes there.
Okay.
Because the tea leaf they use the centra as a smaller
leaves.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And also, because we were talking about, for example, the Yixing clay body will absorb the smell or the tea oil there. So if you drink green tea, you probably don't want to use Yixing teapot because you want that kind of freshness. And lots of time people using glassware for green tea is because not only it kept the fresh taste, but at the same time you were able to see the tea leaves. Lots of time for the green tea, you will use just the tip and it will floating in the water. So you want to see that. As a maker, I always get people will ask me, oh, which teaware is the best?
Yes.
But I would say there's no good or bad. Always like which ones fit the best. Really depends on what tea you want to drink. For example, I was talking about the green tea using the glass. Not only you can enjoy the tea buds, another thing is actually the glass itself release the temperature faster than other material. Then usually for the green tea, you want a lower temperature. So it'll be good for that. For the Yixing teapot, lots of time people use it for like a pour tea. You will find it will have a little bit darker color, big leaf, not really nice looking. So you just want to keep it there. But at the same time, the Yixing clay body will really rounded the texture of the tea liquor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah.
Can I ask about the clays?
Yeah.
Which clays do you, like, that's available here are good, or do you use for your tea wares? And then my other question is on the wild clays. Do you collect, like, gather wild clays around, like, BC and Lower Mainland?
Yeah, great question. I'll just repeat the question for our audience online. Audience member just asked what teas Wei uses here in her home studio, and also if those clays were the wild clays that she finds, are they from BC?
Yeah, like where you find them.
Where?
How did you start looking at the wild clay?
Where and how did you start looking at the wild clays?
The commercial ones and then the wild ones.
Okay. First, for the commercial one, for me, my making process is kind of like backwards. What I mean is like even before I'm making it, I already have an idea what kind of work or how it should look like. So I'll decide what kind of firing I want to do. And then is it like a high temperature firing or medium temperature firing? So it's also determine what kind of clay you can use for that, and also what kind of like feeling I want to bring to the work. Do I want to be very kind of delicate? I will go for porcelain, or I want it to have a more organic feeling. I will go for stoneware, even adding some the grog myself. And then for the natural clay, actually I don't kind of like go someplace specifically hunting for the clay. Usually I just like when hiking or camping around, I will just keep an eye open to collect them, but I will put them in a little bit like a yogurt jar. When I'm back to studio, I will do some tests for them. Yeah, but lots of times it's more like it's a low temperature. It's you can see in the picture. It's the one the clay I show you in the photo is I got here on Vancouver Island.
Okay.
Yeah. After firing, it looks a little bit gray, but after firing, it's really like a dark red color, and also it's a lower temperature. You can use it for the temperature is lower than the Yixing clay, but I think it will be perfect material actually if you want to make for planter. So because it's the porous, like I said, it's well balanced the moisture level.
Okay.
So if you have like too much water there, it will kind of drain it by itself. So actually the root of the plant can breathe as well, so you can have a healthy plant that way.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah. And also sometimes I don't make that much, but I saw people collecting wild clay to make a jewelry. But I will make a small like piece as just a test sample for myself. Yeah, all mini sculpture thing, just as a memory of that trip.
Oh, what a great
idea. But you really, if you want to test wild clay, I would recommend always test them inside of a plate or a bowl, because you don't know the temperature. You can accidentally go higher than it should be. I did a couple of times. So I'm really glad it was inside the bowl. So the whole clay totally melted. Looks like a lava or like a glaze itself.
Like
Oh.
you have a bowl and
Yeah, you want to
the
have,
glaze and then you put
yes.
the separate one in it.
Yeah. Yeah, just in case if it's very low temperature, it won't ruin your shelf. Yeah.
Oh, that's a top tip.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Any question? Because the rest of the slides is my other works. You can also see I not only gather wild clay, but also like
Oh, so
random
some
things,
sculptural pieces.
random things in our life, and I like go to thrift store. Even sometimes like make me feel sad when I go there. You will see lots of ceramic wares.
Totally.
As I said, it's it will be forever on this planet, and we already have way more than what we need. Sometimes it's just like what we want. So actually, like some point, a couple years ago, like I stopped making for I'm not stopped making. I still making, but I stopped firing because if you don't fire, you can always recycle it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I feel like we already have so much. Like why I keep making it? I don't feel like someone on this planet really need extra mug from me. But from that time, I said, okay, so mainly I just make them for myself first.
Okay.
So I need to be happy and make sense to myself first. Then it's kind of become more meaningful. I don't know.
That completely makes sense, because if you're finding joy and purpose in making them for yourself, then that can be put out into the world for other people to appreciate as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I really hope you keep on making beautiful ceramics and pottery, because they're exquisite. And I think also the more people learn about the process, like I've learned so much today from you, Wei, and I have a greater appreciation of the work now. And so as we all cultivate appreciation and understanding of how things are made, we cherish it more.
Oh, yeah.
And so that whole commodification and like mass produced and mass consumption can be, stripped away, because why do I need 10 plates when I can have 2 beautiful handmade plates with
you feel more connected.
way more connected, and it brings more joy.
Yeah. Oh, another thing make me really like wood firing teaware is because it's this one I glazed the inside. For those ones, there's no glaze. So the same as a Yixing clay body, it still can kind of breathe. So which means for the same cup, I always say it's finished in my hand, but it completes in user's hand.
Oh,
because
nice.
really depends what kind of tea you drink and how you use it. Not necessary for tea, like the coffee or just your drinking habit, you will change the color of the clay. So it's like you building the connection with and it's more alive that way.
We have time for one more question, and I'm selfishly going to take it because I'm loving this talk. Do you plan to travel more with your tea? Is there other places in the world you'd love to go and learn more about ceramics? Is that something on your horizon?
Oh yeah, like recently I started to learn more about the Japanese tea, because first, it has some history linked back to China, like a Tang and the Song dynasty, and helps me actually have a better understanding of my own culture. Another thing is you can see how Japanese people take Chinese history, bring their own taste and history, merge into kind of their own tea culture. So I was planning next year I will go to Japan to study more about Japanese tea and also take a closer look at their teawares and why and how they make it. Like I said, like before that, the teapot, I've been seeing the Japanese, those ones with a handle on the side. I've been seeing them a long time. But before I use it, I never bothered to look at the filter there. I was so surprised that there are how many holes there, and I want to go there to see how they make it and the way,
So on that note, so I have one of those little Japanese teapots, and it's red clayware, and I'm just wondering if you know anything about how the Japanese red clay is different from the Yixing.
Actually, the place, when you look at the teapot, it's probably very similar with the Yixing clay because there's no glaze. I think they kind of learn from Yixing, but they use their own local clay. So the clay itself won't allow them to do the hammering thing. So even though they use, the finishing is very similar, but the technique they use is a wheel throwing. And yeah, I want to learn more about that. Yeah, because both the Sencha they drink is the green tea, and also Yixing is also there's a tea farm around them. It's first harvest will be the green tea, then second one will be the black tea. So they drink a lot of green tea as well. I think there might be some connection and influence back and forth.
Oh, thank you, Shishini. I'm so excited to see your creative arc because I love how you're traveling around the world and learning from masters and then being able to take all these different techniques that are all resonating to your own culture and make your own. I think it's really beautiful. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thank you
It
for
was
having me.
wonderful.
Yeah, and I will be upstairs. If you have more questions, feel free to come
And
talk more.
Wei is also with the Hong Collective, so they have an Instagram page, and is that the best way to get a hold of you for our friends online?
Okay, yeah.
Great, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks.